Like I seen, congrats, man.
Hey, appreciate it. I'm gonna pull up a date in a week. I ain't see my family since the New Year.
Oh, word?
Yeah, so I'm pull up. We gonna come out, talk it up. I'm pull up on y'all.
For sure. Let me know. Ready for this journey you about to partake on?
Well, I'm ready as I'm gonna get.
I heard you.
That's about ready as I'm gonna get.
Feel that. Think it's gonna be tough?
See you, free.
Yeah, we ain't no dog.
Cool, but it's it's what I signed up for. Nothing I can't handle.
Big facts.
You on mute?
Maybe.
I think I might have.
I got you.
All right, bro.
Oh, y'all boys got haircuts? Oh, it's over. I'm about to put on the hat. It's over. Hold on, let me grab a hat.
Yeah.
Grab that.
Man, this is dope. You can go live on Facebook right there. That's pretty cool.
Zoom combined with it?
Yeah, they out of pocket for that.
They said we taking over.
You get the door from my brother. I don't know, bro. What up, bro? What up, Major? What's going on, man? Chilling? Enjoying the day? I heard that. Major, this is Lonnie. Lonnie Major. That's my nephew. Bro.
What's going on, man?
Yeah. What is this try live producer? I'm scared to do it.
Experiment.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I need to be trying all that. I do not need to be trying.
Oh, look at it.
Oh, not the G is for God joint.
Yeah, man. I ain't know boys was getting haircuts. I told myself I ain't cutting mine until I'm done.
Oh, word?
That's the goal, at least.
That boy gonna come out dreaded.
Yeah. You gonna get the taper on them at all?
Nah, yeah. I'm gonna get lined up. I'm gonna get cleaned up or whatever. But I feel a little bit more like I'm grinding without a haircut. You know, like you in a stew.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so
100%.
Cut it to the championship.
So my camera's on this screen, but my picture's here. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this.
Nah, this is where I gotta submit that time recap.
Oh, I forgot about that bad.
Yeah.
Background looks solid though.
I can start a watch party. I just want to share it to the group.
That watch party be sending notifications too. I be getting stuff I don't even have a Facebook app. Like it be popping up when I get back on like my computer or something. It'll say such and such is hosting a watch party right now. But it was from our group, of course.
So we can do a poll on here, Tevin. Is there anything else you think we could we need to poll? Or is there any questions you think we need to ask?
I think your outline was cool, and you know how we get to talking and start going. But I got like a whole notes and everything too, talking points, website, not actual website. Actually, I do need to put that website down on here.
And you know you can share your screen if you want to too, of course.
True, I could.
Yep. So if you pull up,
definitely need a lineup.
If you want me to, or if you want to, we could get I can pull up the websites.
Yes, sir. Well, with it really just depends, right? Because when you're looking for, and that's what we're gonna really talk about. But when we're looking for scholarships or fellowships, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've been able to find, everything is kind of dependent on which university, which school, which institution, what type of scholarships, grants, and shit you're looking for. But that's what we're really going to talk about. But especially for far as I'm noticing, a lot of stuff that I've been finding has been is all contingent off of that. Damn, I'm not sure moving slow. Mm-hmm. And this is how we do it. And this is how we do it.
If you told people y'all already went live since y'all got it up.
Yeah, if you check your timeline, it should be on there. That app a beast, ain't it? It take up a lot of space.
Yeah, it's just so much foolishness now.
Man,
I don't need to be seeing this every day.
If I ain't use it for other purposes, I definitely won't have it.
I'm weak. I got on. It was right up top.
Oh yeah, let's get it.
7 people. Stay quiet.
You got a nice backdrop and everything. I'm still in the moving process, so I ain't even.
You got the real backdrop. The no backdrop is a backdrop.
Fair enough. That's cool. By the time, give boys about 2 weeks. Bro, I'm sick. I went to Best Buy. I was geeking, thirsty to set up my home office. Went to Best Buy, spent like $190 today. Come to find out, I didn't need none of this. I'm returning it tomorrow. But I got these docking. You know what a docking station is, right?
Yeah.
So I went to go get a docking station. Some what's those things called? HDMIs, the VGAs adapters. Whole time, all I needed was a USB.
That's it, huh?
Whole time. But it's cool. It all worked out. I'm about to return it tomorrow. But I set up I got the dual monitors.
I was gonna let some vibes ride. You feel me?
For sure. Gotta have some music.
We have an alum on. We have our first guest. What's up to Ryan or Ralph?
It's Ralph, man. What's going on with y'all boys?
What's going on, man?
Hey, Carla, how you living?
Hey. Lana Don.
Right, look at you. I ain't coming.
Yeah.
Boy, stay clean.
No, man, it's for the sun. It's like 80 degrees.
Are you talking to him?
Ralph, you think? Oh, that's nuts.
Is that Money Mace or is that that's Fat Man?
They all right here.
Hey, what's going on, family?
Hi.
Hey, C.
Hey.
Okay.
What?
It's Tevin.
Let me see.
See. Hi.
It is
Yeah.
another person. Who's another person? Who is that? Behind him.
Shot free.
You're serious?
That's why I gotta mute my screen while you talking.
It's up over there.
Oh, we live on the book too.
I ain't playing, man.
I'm out here looking all types of bad. I got hang time though.
It's cool. Everybody knows the reason.
Yeah, you feel me? Sean is the one. You know, he got a haircut. We should all be asking Sean why he got a haircut.
Oh, they open now, but we understand why it hasn't taken place yet.
For sure. Hey, TJ Johnston said, "What's up? What's going on, TJ?"
You got the chat. Oh, there's the chat right there.
Yeah, I might have to pull it up on my phone so I can see the comments. My cousin Stephanie Reed, who got me hip to the Facebook Live. we had a family Facebook call yesterday, and she was getting me together for sure on that. So if you don't mind, I'm thinking we could probably start at what, maybe like 7:02.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Maybe give a few people who might want to join on Zoom. Shout out to all of our people on Facebook joining in.
I guess I should have a Facebook app open, huh?
That might not hurt.
I'm gonna have to download it.
That might not hurt. How the family and everybody's been doing during this time now?
Family is solid. You know, it's a lot going on, but I think people, I think a lot of people are starting to get their, feet under them. But I think, I wouldn't say things that feel like they're starting to get back to normal, because I don't think, what really is normal. But my family, we blessed,
Yeah.
to say the least. So I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be, well, I'm not, well, this is my new home for the next 4 years, but I'm happy to be back in the Midwest.
Sure, man.
Because the South is different, as we all know.
Good to have you back. What music you've been catching lately, if any?
For real, I've been on the Rod Wave. That Rod Wave, man, got a deeper meaning to me. And he was from.
Don't get me to get started on music today.
I've been on the Rod Wave, man. And he's from Florida, so when I was down there, it was kind of cool to be like knowing that he was from Florida, and like, and I just got hit low key like the last few months, but it's solid. Other than that, I kind of waiting for. I feel like music's been, and for me, for what I listen to, I feel like I'm starting to get old ears.
That's the thing. Yeah, I can attest to that. Well, I think for our Facebook crowd and for anybody that's joining in a little later, we can definitely catch them up. And this is pre-recorded, so people will not. It's being recorded live, recording. So anyone who misses out, will be able to join a little bit later. But man, hey, it's a pleasure to have you. It's always been good building with you, in Atlanta and just in Dayton in general. But if you would, well, thank you for everyone for, joining us with how to raise money for grad school. Mr. Tevin Byers is a great resource for it. I plan on learning a lot for myself moving forward, and I hope you guys do too. For those on Facebook Live or if you're in Zoom, definitely add any questions that you have into the comments section or into the chat on Zoom, and we will answer those as we go. So, Mr. Tevin, would you like to introduce yourself? Kind of let everyone know, who you are.
Yeah, for sure. Hello, everybody. Again, like Sean said, thank you all for coming out and watching, being part of this experience, being part of this conversation. My name is Tevin Byers. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. Graduated from Trotwood Madison, best high school in the land. I received my bachelor's of social work at Mount St. Joseph University. Then I went on to Ball State to pursue my master's in student affairs and higher ed. And currently waiting to begin my PhD program at IUPUI Indianapolis, Purdue University, Indianapolis for anybody who's unaware, in urban education studies. So I'll be getting that process in the fall. So currently, my last day actually is this Friday. I'm an academic advisor at the University of Florida. So obviously I stopped one journey to go on to the next. Through that, I've been, I help students with their transition, undergraduate students with their transition of completing their undergraduate degree and whatever journey or accomplishments or things that they want to go on to pursue there as well. I've been an academic advisor since I graduated Ball State. So about 3.5 years or so, I've been doing this.
And
so,
you've been at some other universities.
I have.
Right.
So before I got down to University of Florida, I was at Georgia State University. I was also an academic advisor there. I wasn't at, if you know anything about Georgia State, it's one of probably the biggest universities in the United States because it has several different perimeter campuses. And I was located at the Dunwoody location, and which is basically the 2-year location, which it helps students who, I wouldn't even say not ready to go down to the 4-year, but it's helped, students who might have other obligations going on, want to work on their academics, want to, work full time and go to school part time and things like that. So we help them transition, making sure everything is okay for them to pursue the 4-year, or they can just earn their associate's degree as well, if that's what their original goal was, or just get the credits, whatever they're looking to do. So I was at Georgia State before then. So I've been around the block or so.
And I guess what would you say it was? Can you speak to maybe some scholarships or some, like, how did you make it through undergrad?
My bad. Go ahead, my brother. My bad.
Nah, yep. That's what I'm thinking. St. Joseph,
Yeah. So when I was at Mount St. Joseph,
scholarship,
to be completely honest, when I was at Mount St. Joseph, I had some scholarships, but it's also a private institution, so that means that is costly, which is one thing that if you're interested of going to graduate school or undergraduate schools or anything like that, that's something you should look into, because if you're private, that means it's a limited amount of funds that you might be able to get from the government. And if it's public, then you're open to like different public finance or public grants or public loans or public whatever. But most of my loans, I funded probably private loans. I have a lot of private loans from Mount St. Joseph's. The funny thing is I didn't get any loans for my graduate degree for Ball State. That's a public university. But I also the resources to get through that, my transition at Mount St. Joseph's, I just utilized my resources with the Dean of Students Office. So a lot of people don't know that the Dean of Students Office has a allotted set of money budgeted for students that would experience financial hardships. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to afford tuition, just what it was. So I just ended up getting loans, a lot of different loans, Sally Mae, some federal loans through my FAFSA and everything like that. But they also had book vouchers, which that covered a lot. I think I got like every semester I had to apply, but it was like $2,000 a semester or $1,500 or something around there to cover my books, and whatever was refunded, I pocket that and use that for living expenses. My parents. Oh, go ahead. A lot of people don't know that, man. A lot of people don't know that.
small, slight flex, but that's you.
And you have to let's go back there. And that's one thing about the undergraduate experience. You have to or any type of experience, you have to advocate for yourself and ask questions, and don't be afraid to say, be afraid to hear no, and you also can be afraid to ask those questions. Because it started with, I think my mom was like, yeah, you need to go to the Dean of Students Office and just talk to him and figure out if there's something that you can do. The next thing you know, that I'm walking out of there with a whole book voucher to go to the bookstore, right? And I did that every semester. And I think towards my senior year, I think they started to catch on to me. But at that point, I was already halfway, or I was already done. So it was what that was. But book vouchers, they came in clutch. So I never buy books, to be honest with you. I always try to find some type of book voucher or use the library services as well, because you can rent books for a semester at these different institutions without having to spend that much money. And any way that you can save money is always a win. And we always need to be mindful of that, especially if you're going to a school like a private institution or expensive university. Any way that you can kind of cut costs, that's what you want to try to do. So Dean of Students also will have those type of funds. Financial aid office can also break down your bursar bill. And to this day, I still don't understand. I really don't want to get into the money part of it because I really still don't understand the finances part of it. I'm still learning that piece of it, of the dollars, what gets what and what covers this. However, there's tons of resources out there for you to use in different scholarships that a lot of minorities can apply for, with as long as you have a solid GPA, you have maybe some good recommendations, and you also have to maintain a certain GPA too. I think at Mount St. Joseph, I think it was like a 2.5 or so. As long as you maintain a 2.5, you were solid. And they also have different grants at several different institutions that you can apply for. Upward Bound, Trio Services, they also have a lot of opportunities and resources for you to use to kind of cut that bill down. Might be $1,000, might be 500, 15 might be 5 Gs, 10 Gs, just depends on the institution, because it's all going to be different. Like HBCU is going to have different services than a predominantly white institution, and a Research One university, which is your Ohio States, Florida's, Georgia States, they're going to have different finances than Mount St. Joseph's is going to have this more of a bucket of money that they're going to have to allot students more.
Quick question, like for those, so you had the book voucher, you went to the Dean of Students to acquire that. And for those things, is that application process, what's that like? Like, is it like?
So the application process, I know as an undergrad, I would always get waivers. I would hit up the admissions office and let them know, like, hey, like, I'm going through some financial hardships. Like, I don't work. I just focus on my school. And at the time, I was an athlete, so I was wrestling all the time, so I didn't have time to get a job. I was also in a program called Young Scholars at Sinclair Community College in Dayton, Ohio. So I was actively involved there from 6th grade. I want to say I started in either 6th or 7th grade all the way to 12th grade. They also gave me some funds to go to any college that I wanted to. I think they gave me like $1,500 a year, I want to say. But going back to the application waiver, I would just call the emails, call them and like, hey, I'm going to this. Is there any way that I can get an application waiver? And they have a promo code. It's just like you checking out. So it's like you checking out and they have a code and it waives the fee. So I would definitely say for undergraduate students, incoming freshmen, if you're applying to these schools and you're experiencing financial hardships, and you don't want to pay $65, $70, $80, and you're applying to a lot of different schools, hit them up and see if you can grab one of those fee waivers, because it really doesn't cost them none. It just waives it. I personally don't like the application waivers, but I mean the application fees, but I understand why they do it, because I think they want students to know that how important and how vital it is. And a lot of people are not going to front $80 for an application if they're not serious and want to get in too. So, but I would definitely, if you're experiencing those, see if you can get an application waiver to waive that $80. Just another way you can kind of cut costs.
Wow. And to get the waiver, Major, can you shut that door? To get the waiver, that doesn't require any, is that an application process, or is that?
It's probably, I had to sit down with, I want to say at that time, he might have been the Dean of Students or the VP, but I had to sit down with somebody and talk to them. And we came up with a plan, basically, of how I could fund my way to get my own books. But to be honest, I think every time I sat down with him, he realized how broke I really was. Then like I had 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and I'm a student athlete. So it's like I'm doing the most, and I already have loans, so I'm doing the best that I can. So I checked a lot of those boxes off of the need and the assistance that I needed to be able to get those books. I mean, I already was paying full tuition, really. So it was just like, the least you can do is stall me out $1,500 or $1,000 or how, I don't really remember how much it was, but I know I didn't pay for books. I know that much.
Straight up, man. Okay. And as far as moving towards grad, what would you say, like, because I'm looking at going into grad school myself, and I've seen a couple different, just briefly, a couple different options. I see like they have some fellowships that you could do. I think really honestly that's the only one I've seen currently.
Yeah.
How did you get through? Because I want like Wright State, I'm looking at their MBA program and it is 7,000. I want to say like 700 per credit hour. Like how'd you get through that?
So I did one of these things called a placement exchange, which basically I had the opportunity to interview with, I want to say 20 or 25 different institution grad programs for graduate assistantship. And what the graduate assistantship is that you basically work 20, 25 hours a week. You also get a stipend. Obviously, you have to be admitted to the program still, but you work for one of the offices that's on campus. And I think a lot of people forget that even though it is a college, it's still a business, right? They still need workers. They still need people to work, So with that, being able to if you become a graduate assistant, you basically get a tuition waiver. So at that point, I was at Ball State. So I was a part of Ball State's I was part of Ball State's staff per se. And I had the opportunity to work in the retention office and working with transfer students there. I supervised my own, along with my supervisor, but I supervised students. I had my own student group and everything like that. But most importantly, it waived my tuition. So all I had to worry about was my rent and any other fees that I would have. But like I said, you're working up to 20, 25 hours a week. But you get paid for that as well. So I just used that money and to pay my rent and any other bills that I could have at that time. But I got connected through them going through a placement exchange. And I think I didn't know about a placement exchange until one of my mentors at that time showed me. But a lot of different, they have, depending on the field, they have a lot of different interview days and placement exchanges where you can interview with a lot of different schools and programs. And if you obviously make it to the final round and you get awarded and you get in, you're able to get a graduate assistantship. Now, if you don't go to another option, if there is not a placement exchange for the field that you want to go to, is every field is going to be different, every pathway is going to be different. You can still get a graduate assistant office or a graduate assistant or a fellowship or anything like that. Currently, that's what I have at IUPUI that I'm starting in the fall. I have a university fellowship, which basically covers my first year full. Then the next 3 years is basically a guarantee that the graduate school is going to pay for that. And fellowships, you have to be awarded those. So somebody nominated me for that award, and I received that as well, and also get a stipend, a certain amount. But with that, there's a lot of networking that you have to do. So personally, I have a rule of thumb. I don't apply for any program without making contact with the program because I think it's a two-way street. Yes, I want to get into your program and I feel like I would be a benefit to the program, but I also need to make sure that the program is going to be a benefit for me and that it's going to check all the boxes that I need to do for my future. Right? I think a lot of people like a job, and I think a lot of people kind of forget that because they like, oh, this school can do a lot for me, or I can do a lot for this school can do a lot for me. But it's like a both way. Like if I'm going to be putting in my content, my work, my ethic, everything that I'm doing, I need to be reciprocated for that information. So, but graduate assistantships, they have teaching assistantships that you can do, which also covers tuition. You might even get health insurance as well attached to that, which is what I got, a health insurance attached to my fellowship along with a stipend. In a teaching assistantship, you're basically either an instructor or you're teaching or doing some type of research work under a faculty member at the university, probably the program or the field that you're interested in, more than likely. But also seeing people who do it, like I've seen students who will pursue their law degree and work in totally something different, but at the end of the day, it still is a graduate assistantship, so it still waives their tuition. So, and those things are pretty easy to find. So I'm gonna share my screen just to show that. But can you see my screen, Free?
Not yet. Now I can. Yep.
Okay. So let's just say, let's just use Ball State. Actually, no, you said Wright State, right? Free. You were looking into.
Right.
All right. So Wright State University. Let's say graduate assistant. Let's see. Right. Right, and they break it down for you. So they have all the information right here. They have a contact information for you to have. They break it down between the teaching assistants, the graduate assistants, research assistants, and how much it actually covers and what you would actually be doing. Most times you still have to be admitted to this university first, then you apply. So it just depends on their processes, but that's literally how you find them. Another good resource is just going to the graduate school's website and requesting information and different things like that. But this is like your best friend. This is going to be all the information that you want. But to be honest with you, not everybody's institution website is cool. Like, it's not going to be easy to click through. You might have to click through some things. The way I do it, though, and I actually was looking into one of Wright State's programs until I realized you had to take the GRE, and I wasn't doing that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm trying to. That's what was very attractive about Wright State to me, was the fact that they did waive that with some of their programs.
Exactly.
And I want more information about their MBA to see how that goes. Okay,
that's what I was just about to ask you. What were you looking at? You said an MBA?
Yeah, so it might just be, there it goes. It's under business, they have it.
Yeah, there it is. And what I do is basically find somebody on here that I usually go for people that look like me, to be honest with you. But you can always look at the faculty. You can go to their department, click around on their website and do some research. This is actually pretty cool because it actually breaks it down, finances and different whatever you're trying to go into. But they have the graduate catalog on here, program webpage. So that's probably what I would click on normally to try to get to the faculty. All right. And so before you would want to reach out, you want to know some type of, I wouldn't necessarily say I hate it when students kind of reach out to me without any general information, but you would want, especially for a master's program, you want your students to be knowledgeable of what they're interested in and what to expect before kind of hitting you up. But somehow, somewhere, you just got to find the faculty, which probably isn't hard to find. Probably just take some clicking around. But
would there be a search functional? Well, yeah, I guess maybe at the top.
What'd you say?
If we click faculty, maybe. Oh no, it's
even right here. Here it is, right here. Graduate assistantships.
And then if you go down, that last link is faculty.
Right here. Yep, faculty and staff. So, and they even have, this is a cool thing to check out too, when they have full time, because you need to realize so every program's not a full time program and every part time program. So you may not be able to do it. Like if you have a family and different things going on, you may not be able to take your up to 9 credit hours a semester. You may only be able to do 3 hours because you work 45, 50 hours a week and you have a family, you have other things going on. So that's also something that you would want to consider. But they actually have an application on here. Then I usually reach out to the faculty and staff just to see what's going on. I know for my program that I was interested in, one of the main thing I was looking for is that I needed to be in a program where my faculty was Black. I needed a lot of people that were Black. I wanted to be in an environment of my own, of people that I could see myself in, and I can learn off of them. So that was my thing. Like I would go through I literally checked off my list of programs that didn't have Black faculty. And that was a deal breaker, especially if you got diversity all up in your mission statement, but I don't see a reflection on your pictures, right? So and even this is just like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I can kind of see what's up already, right? And then that's not saying this isn't a good program or anything. That's just saying like you need to have a focus of what you're looking for, what you're trying to get in. And for me, it was like, I need to be in the room with Black people because I'm tired of going to predominantly white institutions and being the minority and being the only one. I'm always gonna be the minority, obviously, but it's just like tired of being the only one at the table. And I wanted to learn from my own.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. But in general, I would just find one of these people and send them a general email, see if you can set up a meeting, a phone conversation just like this, have some general questions, talk it up and make sure that it's a perfect fit for you on both ends.
Yeah.
And that's usually how you find the money, because each programs have funds, right? And they're just looking to give out money in different things too. So the program money, the departments is a little bit, that funds is different from the graduate school money most times. So you have to utilize every single resource that you have.
Wow. Man, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I always thought this was like general knowledge, but also there was a time where I didn't know this either. And I think being an academic advisor, it allowed me to kind of do this, but with students every day and just like find them different opportunities and things like that to help them kind of click around. And once you work at one institution and a small institution, then a community college and a few others, you kind of start to learn that they really all the same, just have, some have different resources than others, but the websites are usually the same.
Yeah. Man. That's dope. That's dope. And I'm glad you showed me that for myself, because now I'm able to know what I might be up against possibly, as far as like just coastal,
Mm-hmm.
Just know what I'm facing and
Mm-hmm.
maybe any boundaries.
Yeah, and also during this time, I think this is a unique time as well, because a lot of universities are waiving their GRE requirement, because through COVID, you have to sit in the placement center and do all of that. So this is a really good time to apply to a lot of graduate schools. And it can be, I saw something on LinkedIn earlier that Syracuse is waiving theirs for their MBA online program. I need to send you that link because Syracuse is a really good MBA program in the world. So have a lot of different resources, and that's the thing that you might want to consider as well. Like, do I want to go online? Do I want to do, do I want to be in person? They have other programs where you can, some like a 6 weeks is online, then you might have to come to campus 2 weeks or something like that. So you just really got to figure out what you're looking for. Then for any incoming freshmen, I think I just saw Ryan get on. I know she's going to be starting a program soon. Look into different like 4+1 programs where you can earn your bachelor's and your master's within 5 years, or 3+2. Those type of, just utilizing every single resources. Every single resource that may be available to you, just because they're already there, so you might as well make use of it. A lot of students, especially freshmen, they want to double major, they want to pick up a minor, they want to get this, they want to get that. And I always think like having 2 bachelor's degrees are on the same level, really. But if I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and I still finish at the same time that I was projected to still graduate, that pay grade is a little bit different than somebody who has 2 bachelor's degrees, right? Obviously, you still need your experience. You still need those things. That's why the importance of internships, studying abroad, different things like that we should probably get into too as well.
And what's the difference between a 3.2 program versus a 4.1?
So a 3+2 really just depends. So a 3+2 you might be, so technically you'll be done with your bachelor's degree in the first, right? Then your 2 years, the other 2 years will be focused specifically on your master's, or you might be kind of double dipping between your bachelor's and your master's. But essentially, it's like it's still together. It's a joint program. You are admitted into your undergraduate degree and your master's degree. Now, you still have to be admitted first into your undergraduate degree, meet all the requirements that the program has. Then, if you're admitted into that master's program, your junior or sophomore, or usually your junior year, once you have certain many credits, it's usually 90 credits. Then you can use some of those credits that for your master's degree, which most master's degree are around 30 to 60, 65 hours. Some of those lasting credit hours for your master's can be applied to your 120 hours for your undergraduate degree. And undergraduate, 120 hours is what you need to complete your bachelor's degree. So you can use some of your master's credits, your master level credits, to complete some of your undergraduate credit. You still got to get that approved, but most times it can work out.
Wow. That's cool, man. That's some information I definitely wish I knew. So.
Hey, man, they don't share this information. I'll tell you this right now. This is stuff that I just learned while I was at Ball State, Georgia State, and the University of Florida. You kind of just pick up, and now being at Indianapolis University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, I try to be a sponge through all this information, and soak it all in so I can give out the information, because I know people where I'm from don't know this information, or it's not as, you don't have as much access to it. So you think, but we really do, because we got St. Clair right there. We got the University of Dayton right there. We got Wright State right there. Wilberforce, Wittenberg. We got a lot of different institutions right there. We just really got to bridge the gap between those institutions into West Dayton, because you also got your AP credits. You got other opportunities that you have to kind of cut costs before you even get there. And that's the benefits of doing AP credits while in high school, or going to a community college for the first 2 years to knock out your basic level courses before you go on to transfer to a 4-year institution. The University of Florida has, not even the University of Florida, the state of Florida has this thing where you can graduate as a high school student and with your associate's degree. So you already completed 60 credits. Now that has its pros and cons with development, maturity, and different things like that. However, if I can get 60 credit hours paid for already by the state, I mean, it's a finesse in a sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then you could really look into 4+1 program, because you still got to meet your 120 hours. So even if you came into undergraduate program with 60 credit hours, you still do the rest of that as well. And you can use some of the master's credits to complete that degree as well once you get to 90 credit hours with undergraduate coursework at that institution. You usually got to stay with some type of residency or whatever, but simple stuff, things you got to do regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dang, man. Well, shoot. It's been very insightful for me. I definitely have some tools that I can take and to use moving forward on my personal journey through school.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say are like 3 resources for graduate students, whether it might be some websites, tips, or just anything that will be for any ready use for them?
One thing that I think people really need to utilize is professional conferences. I'm in a few different professional conferences through NACADA, NASPA, which is basically higher ed conferences. Through that, they also have graduate funding for you, that you might be able to travel, use those for travel funds, research funds. Let's say if I wanted to conduct a study of students or whatever, and I'm doing research and I put that in some type of proposal, when I present it at a conference, a national conference will, if you win that award, they will give you 1,500 2Gs or whatever that money would be, and you can go on and present that information somewhere else. or they might have just funds for you in general, just to participate in different conferences, stuff like that. I think when you're in a master's program, yes, the academics is important, but also getting your name out there and getting exposure is the key thing, because a master's program is short term, and you're going to need a job, or you're going to want to be an entrepreneur. And at the end of the day, if you're doing, you got your own business and stuff, your network still needs to be stronger and sufficient. So getting your name out there is probably going to be the main one. And unfortunately, sometimes professional conferences are expensive, but they do have a student fees, which is a little bit cheaper than the rate that you would be if you were just a regular member in that organization. So it's a little bit cheaper, but you get so many different resources with it. Like some organizations, some conferences would have like a placement exchange, like we discussed earlier, that you can apply for, that will bring all these institutions and programs in. You have direct access with them, might be in a little intimate area. It just puts you ahead. So I think any way that you can kind of get ahead, you'll be able to get there. What else did I say? I think another resource would be, and this is broad, but using the graduate office, like we discussed earlier in that website. Graduate offices are going to be the main source of finances for graduate students, just because that's where all the scholarships, that's where all the fellowships, awards are going to be located. I'm no expert, so I don't want anybody to think I'm an expert, because it took me a little minute to find my funding for my 4 years. However, that's kind of how I started, with like just getting on the graduate office web pages and applying and clicking on things and completing my FAFSA, of course, because you also get different public resources as well if you qualify. Looking for grants, national grants for minority students or academics or anything. There's always some type of money out there for people, really. You just got to Google it and go through it. I haven't been able to find, so far, like a blanket type of research scholarship tool for graduate students so far, other than FastWeb. But I haven't applied for any scholarships or grants on there, so I don't know how accurate that is for of using it. So I don't know if anybody else out there use FastWeb or not, but I know FastWeb has different scholarships for undergraduate students and graduate students, depending on your subject, concentration of your research and GPA. But I would say the main things that you can control, like your academics, make sure you keep your GPA as high as possible. Also try to humanize your professors now, especially for incoming freshmen. That's going to be one of the main things, because you usually walk into these classes and it may be 30, 45, 50, 60, 70. So you might become a number to the professor. I've had large classes where I've actually taught, and it's really hard to like learn everybody's name. But the students that I remember are the ones that kind of humanize me, like, hey, where are you from? And what do you do in your spare time? And like just came to my office hours to talk, along with, get the academic piece of whatever we need to done. But humanize your professors, because that's the way that you can, they have knowledge. Like they kind of the gatekeepers in that sense of like kind of what you need. You need a recommendation letter for a lot of different scholarships too. So if you're starting to get cool with your professors and they turn into your mentors, that's always a go-to for that. I kind of want to do a shout out actually, because one of my mentors from undergrad, she taught me, I want to say my junior and senior year. I reached out to her a few weeks ago, because I'm trying to learn more about grant writing and do my own consulting with grant writing as well. And I haven't talked to her in like, I don't know, since I probably graduated, to be honest with you, in 2015. And I reached out to her, and she sent me all these different resources for grant writing and workbooks and different resources. And like, it was a lot of stuff that she sent me, and I haven't talked to her in 5 years. But that relationship that we had while in undergrad was so memorable to her that she remembered me. I remember I was talking to Ralph, because me and Ralph went to Mount St. Joseph together. We both studied social work. And he was like, she would still remember us then? And we both was like, yeah, she remember us. Like, that's like, because we always made sure that we was doing what we were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Always made sure we was attending those office hours. We always make sure that we communicated. So I would say definitely don't get imposter syndrome. It's hard not to, but try not to get imposter syndrome or get kind of stage fright once you get in those classrooms, because that's kind of go time at that point. Like, it's not just about yes, it is about learning, but it's also about networking. You might be sitting next to the next CEO of the next company, or you might be trying to hire somebody in your class, or you might need a recommendation letter from that professor. So you just never know. So I've always been the type to keep lines of communication open and never burn bridges, and just always do what I need to do from the beginning, or before I even walk in a room. I usually know who my professors are before I even walk in a room.
Yeah. Man, that's huge, bro. That's huge. I definitely found that to be a great tool for myself in moving forward. As far as like just building a relationship with professors, definitely got to build them with your students as well, because that's who you might be doing the group project with.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's.
And you wanna be able to. You just never know, man. Like, there's a lot of people that I didn't think I was gonna be cool with to this day, and that I'm still like I talk to often, or I got classmates that I reach out to. I might have some questions about a field. Like, nobody knows everything about everything.
Right.
Period. It's always somebody that knows more than you, right? And you got to be able to humble yourself and reach out to anybody. Like to be honest, I see Fred Cox. Like, I've never met Fred Cox a day in my life, but I've seen him around. I heard what he does. I heard his work. And that's a guy that I'm like, okay, I know he's doing what he's doing, but I would reach out like, hey, I've heard your work. I heard this. I'm trying to do this. Is there some way we can try to do some programming together, work together? And it's just like, he's been able to do that, right? He's been able to keep lines of communication. He's been able to be present in the city, been able to be present all over Ohio from what I've been able to see. But it's, those are the type of, you want your name to ring bells when you go into different places. So, and I think that's why I've also been able to jump around to Georgia State, Ball State, University of Florida. There's some other institutions that I still have some plugs into where I want my name to ring, and I still got a lot of work to do. Like, I still feel like I'm behind, but I feel like that's how you, I feel like this is how you grind. Like, that's just how you kind of make it. And I think that's how people get to I want to work hard you got to be able to put yourself in different situations. So you don't ever have to, you don't want to have to introduce yourself for it. Like, that's how hard you have to grind while you're in undergrad, while you're in grad program, whatever you're doing, even if you're working for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to be able to do that.
Most certainly, bro. Most certainly. Well, it's definitely been a great pleasure having you. Do we have any questions from our online watchers? Please drop it if you're on Facebook, drop in the chat for our 3 guests and our guests here on Zoom. Drop it in the chat box. If not, I'll give it a couple seconds. But if not, man, it's definitely been a pleasure. We'll for sure have to have a follow-up with this afterwards to maybe dive deeper into the undergraduate experience. I wanted to be a little selfish with this first one, with the
Yes, sir. And that's how you had to, man. Like I said, what Uzi said, I just got here the other day, so I don't really know. But it's just like, you just got to be able, you just got to be able to put yourself in those spaces and reach out to current students too. Like, if there's you can usually find current students that's program, especially in LinkedIn. That's a powerful tool. You can just search and figure that out, who's in what program. You also want to look at alumni and see what they're doing of the people that's coming in the program, because you don't want to go to a program and the alumni not really making no noise in the field or doing anything that you want to be doing. Not to say that you can't do it, but don't recreate the wheel if you don't have to. And also use resources. But for those people, for individuals out here that's you want somebody to look at personal statements, because you're also going to need a personal statement or some content out for graduate schools that you have to demonstrate. I will be starting to do some consulting with that, reviewing personal statements, reviewing research content. So if you all want to email me at wolfofhighered@gmail.com, I'm going to be starting that up. I'm currently working on my webpage to kind of get that out there. So I'm just trying to build and get this information out there to people. So again, that's wolfofhighered@gmail.com. If y'all have any questions about resume building, LinkedIn, research development, mock interviews, because most graduate programs are going to have to do mock interviews. So we can kind of go over that. And mock interviews for graduate programs are a lot different how they do them for jobs. So those definitely need to be practiced.
Super fast. I don't want to hold you too long. What's the difference? Because I know.
So, so for a job interview, they're going to ask you basically like, they're going to ask you more job. Like, what have you, I mean, in a sense, like, what have you done work-wise? And I think they're going to base off that. For a program, they're going to ask you what probably questions like, what you reading? What are you currently researching in the field? Like, why this program? What course? What faculty members have you reached out to already? Is there any students that you spoke with? They're going to ask you if you're thinking about going part-time, full-time. They're going to ask you about your learning style, how you learn. And you got to know like what your learning style is. Like me, like I got to learn in a certain, like, so let me break that down. So for me in the learning style, I have to learn. I'm more of a hands-on person. So I have to do a lot more things hands-on. I can't just get up there and listen to somebody talk all the time. I need a lot more group work. I need a lot more actionable presentations, papers, all that. I need it. It doesn't bother me. I'm able to learn. I'm able to learn from my classmates as well when they're presenting. So we're definitely going to be looking at that. I think there is a question. Yes. What was that?
Yep. It says, would you be a resource on how to correctly write a resume? So
correct. Yeah. So I actually taught a course at the University of Florida, professional development course about how to write a resume correctly. We did LinkedIn development. We did elevator speeches. All of that. We did all that. So I'm currently I'm working on my own. I'm trying to do a lot. I noticed I've been doing a lot more work for other people. Now I'm trying to do a lot more work for myself and get this back into our neighborhood. But yes, the answer is I would definitely be able to help with that.
Nice.
Put my email in this chat.
Sweet, man. Well, you guys, Tevin, I appreciate you for the time, man. 3 takeaways: attend conferences, reach out to your graduate office, and build relationships with your peers and professors. You can email Tevin firsthand at wolfofhighered@gmail.com. It's been a pleasure, man, and signing off, man. You guys have a good one.
Y'all have a good day. Stay safe out there, y'all.
Sure. Safe. Peace.
Peace.